For those of you trickling in, welcome to another live cup draw for PCN. First round of the League Cup we got going on here tonight. So, got all the information here on the League Cup page. So it's the one-legged knockout. It's played every Wednesday night. So, 10 teams do get a bye into the second round, the round of 32, based on their finish from last season. That's how the math works out. But basically, it's a random draw all the way through. First games start next Wednesday at 9. So without further ado, let's go ahead and run the draw. So got our randomizer here. We've got the 44 teams that will be going into it here. We will be drawing them one at a time. Once you're drawn, obviously you play the next team that comes out, and then we take you off the list so you don't come up again. Pretty basic, I think. It's kind of how we always do it. So let's go ahead and run the draw. First team out is going to be West Ham United, new team in League Two. I think they're about mid-table right now, doing all right, and they get a tough first matchup against Valencia, who are up there, I think, second place in League One.
This is always a good opportunity for teams to make statements. You know, the first couple rounds is a minefield, let's say, for the established teams out there, because this is, I think, the quickest way to kind of get the attention of some people.
Yep. And speaking of top of League One teams, Monaco are also up there in the top three. I don't know who's second or third off the top of my head, but I think those two teams are second and third. And they will be getting Atalanta, who are just a little bit further down in League One. But that's an intriguing League One clash.
Very nice.
Next out will be New York City, team still finding their feet in Super League. I believe they're hovering a few spots above the relegation zone currently, and they'll be taking on a Lyon side, which I think are in 7th or 8th. Obviously, a bit of a controversial team, just in some of their shit talking. We'll see how they do against New York City.
Shots fired.
Well, they've shot enough themselves.
Bullets have been sprayed from both sides, and in all circumstances there.
Yeah. And Glizzy, I just saw your comment, thoughts on Lamella today. Lamella kicked ass. I love me some Lamella. He was fantastic.
Objection. Hey, yo, Grizzly, banned, perma banned. No talk on.
Well, your team also just got drawn. Napoli is the next team out, and they will be taking on Frankfurt. So that's a League 2 team playing a struggling League 1 team. So might be an opportunity for your team to get through there. Next matchup is going to feature another League 1 team. It will be LAFC, team also competing for promotion this season, and they will be drawn against Arsenal, the surprising team early on in Super League.
Shout out J-Lip, boys over at LAFC. That'll be a good matchup for them.
Yeah, that's definitely my favorite so far. I think a team you expect to get promoted potentially from League One, and a team that's showing up so far in Arsenal and in Super League. But some people are sitting there saying they haven't played anyone, so we'll see what happens when they do. Next up is going to be Bayer Leverkusen. Darcy and the gang over there struggling a little bit right now, but I think they'll find their feet. And then we'll get this is kind of that matchup in the first round where you're like, that's a tough one. It's kind of a League 2 team figuring things out in 20, going up against Leverkusen. Next up is going to be PSV. I believe they're somewhere around mid-table in League 2. Could be wrong on their exact positioning, and they'll take on an America team, which I believe are a kind of mid-table League 1 team. And actually, interesting enough, Daddy Aikens, the America manager, that's his old squad at PSV. Always fun to get one up on the old squad, right?
Let's see who shows up.
Yeah. Oh, I see your comment about you thought I said Lalana.
I didn't want to interrupt you while you're going there, but I got triggered immediately. I had flashbacks.
I was like, you're really that offended by Eric Lamela? Like,
I don't really like. I mean, Lamela's all right. He definitely is better than Lalana. I won't put him in the insta-ban category for mentioning it.
Fair enough. All right, next up is going to be your League 2 leaders right now, Barcelona. King Frost has that side clicking, and there's a chance they could be on tomorrow night's marquee matchup. We'll just have to see. And they'll be taking on Newcastle United, team promoted from last season. They did switch over. The old Newcastle's at Leipzig. This is last season's Frankfurt, but that's potentially an upset, I think, on the horizon for Barcelona.
Another chance to prove themselves.
Next out's going to be PSG, struggling a bit early on. Another season where Sehai's coming under fire, but of course, he's been around the block a couple times, and they're going to take on a surprisingly, probably kind of good side so far, I think, in League Two Marseille. So they'll try to avoid the
experienced manager over there. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
I expect he'll be ready for that.
Next out is the Wolfsburg team, which we are currently doing everything we can to find a manager for. Had a team in there, found out they really couldn't just make the times as well as they thought they could. Unfortunate. And whoever gets in there will have a tough task ahead of them, getting Manchester United.
Shout out Man United, but that's a tough draw. Yeah. But we'll see.
Yep. Next up is going to be promoted from last season, from League One into Super League, Borussia Dortmund. I think they're sitting about 14th or so in Super League right now, still trying to figure things out. And they're facing another team that's not had maybe the best of starts, Liverpool. I do expect Liverpool to come out of it, and so it'll be interesting to see who moves on from that matchup. Next up will be an Everton team that I think were said last night on the podcast that they've been a little disappointing so far in League Two. Came back with a lot of players from last season and given up a lot of goals, and they'll be facing another League Two team in Atletico Madrid, who are a lot further up the table. So, chance for Atletico to move on, or chance for Everton to kind of turn their season around.
Speaking from experience, you can always take a cup run as a good consolation for a mid-table finish.
Exactly. I mean, last season Atlanta squeaked into the Super Cup, but they finished 6th and were able to win this cup against a Man City team that I think did finish around 8th or 9th. So that's a very true statement. Another darling from last season's PCN Cup, we had Sporting, who I think made it to maybe the round of 16 or the quarterfinals and played a Orlando squad, which they were a little overmatched on, but they had a pretty decent run, and they'll be taking on Ajax. So another time we have a manager facing their old squad. So Giannis was Sporting's manager. Now he's at Ajax, but he gets his old squad at Sporting.
Wow. Emotional.
You can't draw these. You can't fake these things. Giannis, I'm excited. You see your reaction. Next matchup will feature the very quiet, no one's ever heard any of their players talk, Seattle Sounders. Didn't talk at all last night in the podcast, haven't ever talked in the Discord, and they'll be taking on fellow League One side, Crystal Palace, see if they can keep...
The men of mystery, some might say.
Keep their good run running. Good run running. Isn't there a song that sounds like running?
I'm not going there. Not right now.
All right.
Maybe at 2 a.m. on Rocket League, but
fair enough. Next match is going to feature League One current first place Santa Clara. Very good looking defense over there, and they'll be taking on Inter Miami, who are a little bit further down in the standings at League One. A couple new teams to PCN this season.
Mm-hmm.
Next matchup is going to have Braga, which is a team that had almost got promoted last season and struggling a little bit so far in their second time around in League One, and they'll be taking on a Villarreal team, which are also not off to the best start in Super League. So another chance for teams to kind of get things going. Down to our last 6 matchups, I believe we have the Leicester City. Kind of working into form. Had the new team had their first game night the other night and did all right. So I'm looking to see how they do. And they get Tottenham. So we have the 2015-16 real life title race reenacted.
Great memories.
Yeah, great memories as a Spurs fan. Again, just so many things.
But you know what? I'm not even going to go there because you don't deserve it.
Because you're a good.
Things have been tough enough.
Yes. Next up is going to be Schalke. Had a new manager take over last night, so we'll see how they do next week once they've had a week under their belts. And they'll be taking on Feyenoord, team in League 2. So, chance for one of the teams to move on and maybe make a little bit of a cup run. Next up is Wolves, who have not made any enemies this season in League 1. and they'll be taking on last season's kind of bad boys in Bayern Munich. So a couple League One teams going at it once again.
Shout out Bayern once again. That'll be a good matchup.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites so far. Next up is going to be Fiorentina. Mash and Cheeks finally got them promoted last season, and they're doing all right so far in League One. Maybe not scoring quite as many goals as last year, but they take on a Roma team which are looking for promotion back to League One after a relegation last season. That's kind of a fun matchup too. I think there's some players who played at both those teams. Down to our last two, we've got RB Leipzig, or as I like to call them, RB Leipzig. I don't know if they play a lot of RBYs, but it's a fun thing to say.
For you.
For me, well, that's all that matters. And they'll be taking on the Young Boys.
Shout out Young Boys.
Good looking team so far, which means our final matchup will have Porto hosting against Galaxy. So that's your round one of the PCN Cup draw. Any matchups stood out to you? Any final thoughts before we get out of here?
I mean, honestly, that was really fast, and I can't remember them all off the top of my head. But I mean, I think there's going to be definitely some good games, and I think these are my favorite. This is my favorite cup because it does just have like just funny, funny things happen, great upsets. It's some unexpected shit talking. Over the years, it's kind of the same people, right? But then like a new team enters the fray, so I enjoy it. Just excited for it.
Yeah, me too. It's a chance for a team for Super League to play some teams they haven't played before, and some League Two guys to get tested, and then you have people playing. Like my favorite too was the America and PSV and the Sporting and Ajax. Two managers who been in League Two for a long time facing their old teams, and then also that Arsenal LAFC one. I think I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, that was it. That's gonna be a good one for sure.
So, thanks everyone for tuning in. We will be back probably later next week because we'll obviously have the games next Wednesday. So I'm thinking maybe Thursday, Friday, we'll have the draw for the next round. We'll be doing that every week until this cup is over. So, thanks everyone for tuning in, and good luck if you're playing late night tonight. And if not, then we'll see you out there tomorrow night.
Cheers, Jeff.
Cheers, Jeff.